ERO Architects is 25 years old this year. And so we've been celebrating all year on the anniversary. And what we decided to have our theme be for our anniversary is accomplishment. And so we wanted to showcase our legacy of projects that we've done in the past, and those who have worked and or been a part of ERO, as well as what we're doing today and what we're going to be doing tomorrow. We're fortunate to be a busy architectural firm. We're the largest architectural firm in the South Texas region, and we've got well over 50 projects that are in some stage of development, design, or construction with our staff. We've got 16 architects on board. They are all very busy and very active, doing anything from project management to production management to construction administration, but a lot going on. The biggest thing that I love is the impact that we've had on many, many communities throughout the region, not only just here in the Rio Grande Valley area, but outside of this area, including San Antonio, Austin, Houston, El Paso, and even the Del Rio, Carrizo Springs area. We're doing some projects over there as well.
And I know you win lots of awards, I'm aware of that, but perhaps the general public, they'll see a building and say, that looks nice, but the architectural firm that designed it, people just don't know who did it, and therefore maybe are not aware of your company so much.
Well, we have a strategy that we developed years ago when I got on board. I'm in my 20th year with the firm, and that was that in order for us to make a mark in the region, we want to be doing iconic building projects. And so we have a few that we're very proud of, not only because of the aesthetics and how well designed they are and how beautiful they are in the community, but also the impact they have in terms of servicing the community and even those who come to visit and those that go in these buildings. A few examples that come to mind: the McAllen Performing Arts Center, one of probably the crown jewel of our firm, but also the Hidalgo County Courthouse that we did in collaboration with HDR is also another one of those iconic buildings. And in Edinburgh, we're very proud of the Edinburgh Arts and Cultural and Events Center. It's a small community facility, but it has a big impact in the community, in the arts community, in the media community. The Brownsville PUB Annex building and service yard that we did in Cameron County is another that we enjoy bragging about. The new City Hall in San Juan, the many fire stations and police stations that we've done, the community centers, the biosafety lab for Hidalgo County, the only one of, I think, 3 in the state of Texas. It's both a biosafety level 2 and level 3 in terms of laboratory testing for viruses and diseases. So many facilities in the legacy of our project. We've done over 320 design projects in our 25-year history, impacting well over 10 million square feet of space. Proud of that.
Going back to the Performing Arts Center in McAllen, am I right in thinking that you won national awards for that?
You know, surprisingly, not as many as other buildings. We've been recognized for that building. The Hidalgo County Courthouse has won 2 design awards. We've won more awards for our education facilities than we have for our government facilities. The San Juan City Hall won a design award. The Edinburgh Ace building is up for an award consideration. But we've won awards for our high schools and the performing arts centers that we've done in just about every educational community in this area. We've put those performing arts center facilities and entered them in awards, and 2 of them have won national awards. We did a high school in Seguin that won a regional, a statewide, and national construction design award. We did an elementary school that won 4 awards in Austin, a beautiful elementary school where learning is done both outside and inside, and the building's facility matches the curriculum of the school. So we've got many awards that we're very proud of that we won. And also, we've won community awards, being recognized for community service, investing in the community, being a part of the community, serving on a board. And we're just as proud of those. There was a year back, about 15 years ago, where Eli, in 1 year, won a local Small Business of the Year award, won a regional, a state, and a national Small Business of the Year award. In 1 year, he was recognized for the service that he performed as an architect in the community. So we're very proud of all of the recognition and acknowledgement we had. Eli Ochoa and I met in the summer of 2006, and he needed a marketing consultant to come in and, as he said, break through the clutter of all the architectural firms that were from out of area and here. He wanted to have more of a leadership position in the community because of his background and this long-term relationship with the community, being born here and raised here, and then left to go get an architectural degree, and then he got a structural degree, and then got licensed by both. And so he had an amazing ability to not only aesthetically and functionally design a building, but he also on the structural side was always there to be sure it didn't fall down. And so for many years, ERO had both an architectural and a structural department. And his impact on that was significant for our clients because of the efficiencies that got created by having all of that in-house. Those are two of the key components of a building: is the architectural function, its aesthetics, its design, its flow, its language that we incorporate outside the building, inside the building, and then all of the structural components from outside and inside are related. And when we're working together, it's a tremendous opportunity. So for years, we had that ability. But Eli left a mark for us because he was wanting to incorporate the significance of a community's character. The design would reflect and respect the land, history, and people of a community. So when he and I got involved as partners, we started emphasizing with our staff and with our clients and eventually in the community is that any aspect of a community, for instance, the Dow County Courthouse has 12 references that are indigenous to our community, from water to wind to air to land to earth. And also Eli made some references to the Catholic Church and some of the relationships to the apostles and to other sacraments are incorporated into that building. Same thing applies to the McAllen Performing Arts Center. There's many references to what's indigenous to our region in terms of the colors reflecting the birds and the sunsets and the orchards that were here before and are still here, as well as the prawns of the palms. And so Eli left a mark that we were beginning to be known and have become known as a firm that relates to and or reflects cultural design in its work, and we still do it. And Robert Brunetta, our head of design, is a student of Eli and got to spend a lot of time. And so when Eli retired about a year and 10 months ago, all of his knowledge we soaked up, and all of our architects and designers got as much as they could out of Eli to take and carry the torch on for us to continue the legacy building of the firm in terms of how we approach design.
I recently watched a video of yours where you were emphasizing it's a prerequisite for all of your work that you bring in the local cultural historical aspects.
It is, and it's important to remember one thing is that we're always conscious of budget. So we can only go as far as the budget allows us to go in terms of what we do outside or inside a building. But we want cultural design to be one of the differences and what separates us from other firms. There are other firms that utilize cultural design in some of their designs, and many of them are award-winning firms. We like to reflect a lot of the culture, the Hispanic, German, and Vaquero, and Spanish cultures that mix in and are entwined into this region. And we spend a lot of time in the history of that. The San Juan City Hall has a direct connection from a design standpoint to the Basilica because of the connection of the community. We always regard San Juan as a city of faith and of its centuries of people in pilgrimages coming to this area to pray. And the Basilica is built on that, and we wanted the City Hall to reflect that. And so it's important. But one of the things that also, since the pandemic, that we decided to also emphasize another differentiator is how effective we are and how good we are at responding to our clients' needs, and that we have to have good levels of communications and good technology to be as responsive as possible. And so we want that to be also something that we do different than others.
Let's talk about the Hidalgo County Courthouse. There's a lot of staff use that courthouse, and it's been open, 6 months, 9 months. What's been the feedback? There's a lot of people working there, and they need that functionality as well. So, what are you hearing?
Well, we were there for the grand opening, and it was probably the grandest of the grand openings that I've ever been to or been a part of in the firm in terms of our buildings. I'm sure there may be others that are just as grand, but I'd never seen something pulled off the way they pulled off that grand opening. And so we had a camera crew. We had 2 camera crews there. And so I did a series of interviews. And so I got to speak to all the judges, and I got to speak to a lot of the administrators and those at county clerk and district clerk that are going to be using the building. And the overwhelming response was relief. We finally got the building open, because it took a while to get that building open. And then it was just the magnanimity of its beauty and its function compared to the old courthouse, and the fact that everything was so modern and that everything was so accessible, and that the flow of public versus defendants in custody versus judges was so much different and so much more secure, and the technology exemplified that or represented that. But then as days passed, I started getting text messages and seeing in social media that people were starting to absorb the design of the exterior of the building and then the interiors of the building. And so kudos to HDR and the Warren Group, who worked on the interior designs of the building, and then kudos to Eli and ERO for the exterior of the building. And as I mentioned, there are many of the elements of the community that are reflective in that building. Eli likes to say that the building has a welcoming effect when you walk up, and some of the judges feel that way as well, that people are nervous, they may be hostile, they may be agitated, they may have issues coming to the building, and we want the building to reflect a sense of welcome. So that big porch, wooden porch effect with the tile, Eli wanted that to look like a porch that you grew up in as a kid in the valley. And you remember the wooden porches with the rockers and the benches out there. And that was the first thing you saw when you came to someone's house, was a porch. And you'd have a sense of feeling welcome. And that was important to Eli, to have that in the front of the building. And so people started responding to that. It feels like acceptance, like warmth, like I kind of calmed down when I walked to the building a little bit. As I get closer, it gets more grand. And of course, when you get there, the entrance is very huge and large. And then you walk into this advanced technology with the escalators and the elevators and the cafes and the lobby area and the electronic signage and the wayfinding and all that. So it's kind of a blend of the past and the future when you go into the building. So overwhelming response of positive. I don't think I've heard one negative thing about that building. At least I haven't. Maybe others may, but I haven't. And we're looking forward to the rest of the expansion of the Courthouse Square, the demolition of the existing courthouse. There's going to be a surface parking lot. There's going to be a beautiful meandering park that's going to be there. And then a war memorial is going up on the west side of the courthouse.
I might leave you with this. Maybe you can inquire into this. But before anything got demolished, I do remember in the parking lot there was a small statue of Miguel Hidalgo, given, that this is the county's name for him. And I know it was preserved, but I'm wondering where it went. Maybe it's tucked away, locked up in the South Texas Museum of History. But it would be good if that could come out, because, this county is named for him. Such an iconic figure in Mexico. But the county promoted that at one point, so maybe that could be resurrected.
Oh, it'd be great. I think there's a connection between the county and the South Texas Museum, and I suspect that there are things of the old building or on the property that there may have been some exchange that was made. I don't know exactly what happened or what's over there, but I suspect that statue may be residing over there, may be moved, or it could be somewhere else. One of the things is you bring up the historical aspects of the county. I don't know if you've been into the county clerk's record, the Hall of Records. That is an amazing room to look at, walk through, and see the oldest record that the county's ever had, and to see the things that are up on the walls and the books that are there. I love that room. It's just there's something almost cathartic when you walk in there and you know that the past of the county over 200 or 300 years is sitting in that room. It's pretty cool to be in there and look and see what's there.
Very storied history.
Oh yeah, yeah. Art did a great job. Our county clerk, Guajardo, did a great job in terms of how we were able to design and then eventually utilize that.
So I'm not sure exactly how big an area, regional area you cover. Like I'm thinking you cover San Antonio as well, but what's the scope of your work geographically?
Well, our projects are, I think of our projects as a bit south of Interstate 10, but then you have to jog up to Austin and then head over back to Houston. So from El Paso to San Antonio, Austin to Houston, and then triangle down here to the Rio Grande Valley. And then west over, we're working on projects in Del Rio and in Carrizo Springs, some K through 12 educational projects there. We have 4 offices. We used to have a 5th one, but we have an office in San Antonio. We have an office in Houston, one in Brownsville, here at Edinburgh. And we used to have one in El Paso when we were doing some El Paso work. And we call them project offices. Everybody works remote, but we're in the office that we're here now is very similar to the ones that we have throughout the state. They're small. They're large enough where about 6 to 7 people can visit and meet electronically and or in person on projects. And it was designed to be in business centers where we can expand a larger space if projects increase, like we have in Houston and in San Antonio.
And you need those offices in part, although you say it's a project office, it helps you market the company.
It does.
In those communities.
It does. I think there's going to be a proliferation and a much higher increase of bond programs over the next 2 years between now and the next session. There was if you remember House Bill 99, there was a lot of work being put to create the difficulty of political subdivisions to go out and issue bond referendums, and I don't think they've given up. I think they're still going to come back and try to do it again the next session. So a lot of school districts, I know in our region we're going to see a lot more bond activity, but a lot of school districts and cities and counties and higher ed institutions are going to be rolling bonds out, and even drainage districts as well for infrastructure projects. Just right now in the November ballot, this is the largest bond referendum in the state collectively that we've ever seen, and we just think there's going to be more and more of that as we go through the next couple of years. So it's a good time for us to be in Houston and San Antonio and the Austin area, and to be ready for that. We've got a strong portfolio, a good history of projects. We are well versed in K through 12 and higher ed, as well as in municipal and county government, and we've got good references. Our repeat business is really high. And so we're well positioned for that. And we mastered the ability to work remotely after the pandemic. We spent a lot of efforts and a lot of time to develop platforms where we can work just about from anywhere to be able to not only plan and design, but ultimately be involved in the construction of a project. We've done that successfully over and over and over again.
And that's worked well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're very proud of it. Yeah.
So 25 years, are we past the point where the celebrations have taken place, or you still got plans? What have you done, or what do you plan to do?
Well, we're not going to do anything big because we have been doing a lot of big things. We've been doing a lot of social media. We've done a lot of video. We've been very active advertising and promoting with our local media outlets. So we've been spreading a lot of investment into the celebration of our 25 years of anniversary, our 25 years and our anniversary. And we have been wanting everyone to know that we're a successful firm. We're very proud of the work that we've done, and we're very proud of the communities that we have served. And so we have introduced and or highlighted a lot of communities, a lot of our clients, a lot of our owners, and a lot of companies that we've worked with throughout this process. So what we decided to do at the end of the year is to have a small, intimate celebration with just our staff. And so we're going to have a big celebration event in December, holiday, and where it's just going to be us together to collectively reflect on the 25 years and also talk about the next 25 years. We are building a succession of the next owners of this firm. and that is ongoing. And we have some very, very good people, highly talented and very well versed in how we approach projects. One of the things that we're working on is that everyone can go out and develop a project, but not just to design it, but also to bring it into the doors and then ultimately complete it. And so we have a lot of individuals who are getting stronger and stronger in that. And so, yeah, I'm very excited about the next 25 years for our firm.
Well, Brian, those are all the questions I have related to ERO. Is there anything I've missed, anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I just want to acknowledge, first off, I mentioned our staff. None of this could be possible without being surrounded by some incredibly gifted, talented people. And so we're a family, and we treat each other as family members, and we take care of each other. We've got each other's backs because we know that every one of them is part of a family. And so we want to be sure that those families are taken care of. And we also want to remember that each of them are good stewards of our communities that we serve. And they're not only taxpayers, they're not only shoppers, they not only dine in the communities, but they also end up serving the communities. And so we couldn't do this without our staff. And then the second group that I want to acknowledge, especially over the last 25 years, are all our partners and consultants and contractors that we worked with over the last many, many years. And again, their success is our success, and we have to collaborate and work together in harmony to be able to pull off some of the projects that we've had. Every one of those projects that I mentioned that we're real proud of, that are iconic and legacy, all had legacy complexes and all had, challenges that we had to deal with. And that leads me to the last group, and that's the owners that have hired us, that have entrusted in us their public funds, their taxpayer funds, and their constituents for us to be responsible for building and designing and ultimately giving them and handing them the keys to something that is memorable, where environments are exactly what they were expecting. The communities it reflects the community accepts it. It's part of public service. It's part of educational service. It's part of healthcare service, and that it works in the community and that they're very proud of it. So we thank the owners for entrusting us with that.